Hi, welcome to Heart of Philly. Tonight we are at ArcheDream's 7th annual performance benefit and auction, and we happen to be here tonight with Alan Bill, who is the art director. And tell us about this your tonight and what is going to happen tonight.
Okay, this is our annual fundraiser, and what we like to do is show people what we do, what our activities are, that we work with kids in schools, we perform at festivals, in clubs, in raves, in theaters, wherever we can get work. And our focus is on the emotional reality of human beings, and we create masks. Can you look at something? Uh, with different expressions, and then we take them to schools and help people incarnate or express that emotion using one of these masks. So we teach people how to communicate instead of explode in an emotion that doesn't take them anywhere. And the point about art is that art makes communities. So if you have a theater, then people come together to see it, and that's what you want. People need to feel seen and known, and art is the ideal medium to present people to each other.
And can you tell me how this all came about, how this was all founded?
Well, I come from South Africa, and I was a child in the age of apartheid, of the racism there, and I think the big riddle of my life was how to find an art form that incorporated African traditions with the European traditions. And so ArcheDream is that fusion of that idea, using the masks and costumes. We do ritual dancing as it is in tribes, and the way we put it together is from the European tradition. So it's an art form that comes out of African and European traditions, but it's new to both of them. So that's the meaning of this theatre form. There are 6 universal emotions, which are the same as the 6 colors that you'll find wherever you go in the world, and the chords that work in music. We use archetypes to get past language barriers and national identities, so we get closer to the human form. And that's the basic idea of.
And how have you found that children react? Because children do react to all this in a good way, positive way.
Yeah, they love it, especially teenagers, which is what I think my major achievement in life is. If you make something that really knocks out teenagers, then you've got something powerful. And it's wonderful to work with teenagers, 8th graders, and so on.
Isn't that, and that's also a difficult age and it's good to be able to connect with kids at that age.
That's when they most need to speak and be noticed and known. So when we do workshops, we help them present their issues in a communicable form so that people get to know them. And then you don't feel so estranged from your neighbors.
And how do you reach out to the community?
We do parades, we do mask workshops and schools. For example, tonight I've invited the people from the homeless shelter where I work. They sell a newspaper called One Step Away, and I draw the comics, and Robert, one of the guys from the shelter, he tells the story, and then I draw the comics, and my pictures appear in the homeless newspaper, and we've got a journalist and a photographer, so that we're presenting a human cause through art, and not just holding out our hands, but being more affirmative in our, wishing for attention for our purposes. Yeah.
Do you paint the masks yourself? Do you create all of that?
Formerly, there was only me doing it all, and now Michelle has joined us, and she's a sensational costume maker, and I'm teaching people to make masks so that I can retire. We called it ArcheDream. Arche is, architecture, archaeology. ArcheDream means primitive, primal, or original. So I expect my idea just to be the first idea of a tradition that will put me in the dust eventually. So I'm happy to be a primitive in order to start a new branch in the tree of art.
And now we're with the executive director, Glenn. And Glenn, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing excellent. I'm very excited.
And tell us about tonight and ArcheDream.
ArcheDream, this is our 7th annual performance benefit and silent auction. So this is very exciting. It's a time for all of us to come together as a family, and we do a performance halfway through the evening. We also offer a silent auction for lots of different items from local vendors, restaurants, services, those sorts of things. So this is very much a homecoming for us and a family gathering.
And tell us about the performers and where they come from.
All the performers are based here in Philadelphia, and they have a variety of jobs and occupations which augment their income in relation to the performance work that we do with ArcheDream For Humankind. We travel internationally, and we have a small studio in West Philadelphia, but there's no heat, and it can be somewhat challenging. So the way that we've been able to support ourselves is that everyone has individual jobs. Each person is really unique and amazing. Each person does the performance for their own individual reasons. We're each committed to the theater company because of our own personal desires and our own personal passions. My particular passion is music and interactive digital media. So we have a variety of performers too. There's one girl, Jackie. She was actually a synchronized swimmer for 14 years. And
she's such a great dancer too.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a combination of classically trained dancers from the UArts and other performing arts companies. And then there's people that are more from like a martial arts, physical theater, more of street performance aspects. So we combine those two types of things, classical trained dance and then also physical theater, and into this unique type of dance theater that we do.
And how often do you have performances, and how do you get that out to the public?
Well, we have a booking agent named Robert Baird from Baird Artist Management, based out of Toronto, and we perform generally 2 to 3 times a month on average. On some of our tours, we were recently in Taiwan for the second time for a month. We did 30 shows there, worked with over 5,000 children in Aboriginal towns and villages. We were also at the Boom Festival in Portugal. And so in particularly busy months, we may do between 10 to 30 performances, and then there's months that we don't do any performances. So throughout the year, it really varies.
And tell me what kind of response that you've had internationally as you're traveling.
It's been phenomenal, the type of response that we have. Most times what will happen is that if we perform in front of a particular type of culture, they'll immediately, I can remember an Indian audience, can say, oh, this is Indian, this is Balinese, this is Indian, this is Indonesian. And Alan has been a master in working with all different cultural types and integrating those into the costumes and masks, because we're dealing with emotions here. People in all parts of the world feel emotions, so we're putting these emotions into these masks and costumes. So when we've gone internationally, Taiwan and China, and people identify with it immediately. And in South Africa, there's an immediate connection because they can feel the connection based on the culture that has been very specifically placed into every mask and costume and dance.
Hi, we're with Patricia. Hi, Patricia. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
And tell us about this room that we're in.
So this is our room of our show, Deep Blue. And Deep Blue has been around for about maybe about 10 years almost. And we are revamping the whole show. So right now, everything out is a bunch of works in progress that we're doing. So we're adding a bunch of new scenes. We have a giant penguin. We're adding a lot of more puppets into our show to add some more black-like magic.
Here, come over here for
Okay,
1
so we
second,
can see.
so we could see it. So, okay, tell us about this as our cameraman.
So in Deep Blue, it's about the elements, and we go through earth, fire, air, and water. And so we're doing water with the ice scene, and we have penguins here. We have water with fish. We have an underwater scene. And then over here, we've been building rocks. Everything is very simple. All of these things are cardboard. The puppet is not cardboard. It's foam. We have our designers. Our puppeteer designers is Jameson Murphy and Michelle Yeager. And the rocks represent earth. We have the air, which is cardboard cutouts of clouds. We do have masks that we are going to be creating for the show. And Alfred Rosenbluth, who is designing them, these are his sketches. So we don't have them created just yet, but we're going to be adding some of his masks into
Oh, that's
our
really interesting.
show.
And is this part of the exhibit you were just explaining right here?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Deep
here,
blue.
yes, for Deep Blue, this is we have day and night. So we have our day mask, who is more masculine, and then we have the night mask, who is a little bit more feminine. We have here the egg of the phoenix. In the show, a giant phoenix bird emerges from the flames, and here's a little mini penguin.
Oh, how cute. Whoops.
Oh, and it's falling over.
Now, is this an upcoming show?
Yes. Well, we have been working on it for a couple of years now, and we don't have anything set in Philadelphia for it, but we will be performing it in New York next weekend and in Seattle in February.
And now we're with Jackie. Hi, Jackie.
Hi.
Good seeing you again.
You as well.
So tell me tonight, you'll be dancing tonight too, performing?
Yes, a bit of a show called Inside Out, which was, I actually wrote it and directed it, and I'm performing in the little segment that we're doing tonight. And it was performed in Taiwan for a month and Portugal. So,
And what inspired you on this theme?
well, you have to look at our mission statement. We get our inspiration from personal stories. So my particular story was about my relationship with my dad, and the link that we had, which was bedtime stories when I was growing up. And so yeah, it's about a little girl gets into a fight with her dad, and then her storybook characters kind of show her about herself. And at the end, she has to kind of come clean in the argument and realize that both of them are imperfect.
That sounds like a story that every little girl with her father maybe could tell. I know I could.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, that's why it's relatable. Yeah. Yeah, and surprisingly, it's a universal theme because in Taiwan, the kids understood it completely.
So this is something that, like you said, it's a universal theme that all over the world, children feel the same thing.
Yeah.
Just as, it's the same thing. With their fathers anyway.
Yeah.
It's different with their mothers.
Sometimes with their mothers too, but yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm excited to see the performance tonight.
Me too. We've been talking about it for a long time since I've known you, so
And we're here. Here we are tonight.
here we are.
We have our camera on your shoe, and there's a reason. Can you tell us why?
Because I have the best shoes in town.
Now, and why is that?
Because look at them. They've got a heart, which means love.
What else does the heart mean, Francesca?
Heart of Philadelphia. Oh, no, heart of Philly. Sorry, Karen. Heart of Philly with Karen DeChecker.
Good. You got it
We go back a few years, don't we?
Yes, we do.
But while we're on the subject of shoe, if I may say, these are actually from Bus Stop Boutique down on 4th and Catherine, and the most amazing shoes in town. So we have to give Eleanor a plug right there.
And Francesca right now is on the board, a board member for ArcheDream.
I know. I'm the newest kid on the block as a board member. I've known Jackie for, in fact, we were just having this conversation, many, many years, at least maybe 12, 13 years. We met actually in Harrisburg. I was doing a hair show, and she happened to model for me. And then she moved to Philadelphia, and I had given her some advice on which school to go to. Then she became a paying client for several years, and then we ended up working together at another salon. She was an assistant there, and we've been friends ever since. And I've gone to almost every performance that they've done, locally. I'm a big fan of ArcheDream. It's an amazing dance company that is founded by real people. And the people have become a family, and the family is like a community. So even just being here on the early side, helping to volunteer, so many people that came to volunteer, and it was great because it's just nice when people pull together like you and I and our lovely cameraman. We've been doing
Shout out to Carlos.
like you at an event, Nourish event not long ago, and Jackie and part of ArcheDream, they did a performance there, and
It's all about people coming together.
it is. That's really what it's about, and that's what the people are here tonight here for as well, as they're here to support ArcheDream.